Donald Trump doubles down on his tariff plans as the stock market sees more wild swings and local businesses start to feel the impact.
How healthcare companies try to handle a shortage of workers as the demand for their services reaches new highs.
And a look ahead at tonight's colossal title matchup. Florida and Houston prepare to tip off for a men's college basketball national championship.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
President Trump threatening new tariffs on China as high as 50% while Wall Street continues to experience volatility.
The warning comes amid talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, marking the first foreign leader to visit the White House since President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs last week. As the trade war escalates, the White House says over 50 countries have reached out to negotiate with the president.
We stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table. But we are also prepared to respond through countermeasures and defend our interests.
President Trump maintains his stance on the tariffs. Lawmakers on both sides on Capitol Hill are voicing concerns over the economic impact.
Well, here in Wisconsin, locals are also sharing concerns about their financial future. People on Madison's Capitol Square say what's bad for Wall Street is bad for the average American. The impact already being felt with concerns extending beyond just investors to retirement accounts and consumer confidence as well.
I feel like it's completely out of our control, and I can't see it really changing anytime soon.
It affects consumer confidence. It affects businesses who don't know how to invest.
And for some people, particularly our retirees or those who are going to retire soon, that's a problem.
Experts say markets may continue to fluctuate as trade tensions remain high. And the worry of tariffs has reached the video game industry, with one major game manufacturer delaying when you can order its newest console, citing the potential impact from the tariffs.
Our Jalen Banks caught up with one local video game store on how tariffs may impact their industry.
Video games are a pastime that many people enjoy, but due to tariffs set in place by the Trump administration, many people's favorite hobby may get even more expensive.
The video game industry is extremely lucrative. According to Forbes, the video game industry made over $180 billion worldwide in 2022, which is 7 times more than the music industry and movie industry made that same year. And people who enjoy this popular hobby may be seeing an increase in prices. Major video game manufacturer Nintendo announced that due to recent tariffs set in place by the Trump administration, they will delay the pre-order date for their newest console.
I was already kind of hesitant about the Nintendo Switch 2 just because of the price point, and especially the games that they're charging, with Nintendo trying to charge $80 to set those games up. That means that Sony and Microsoft will unfortunately probably follow with that price gouging.
And this may very well impact his store.
I kind of enjoyed this job because of the fact that it's just, not a blue collar job, I guess is what you would call it. But no, I never would have imagined that something like this could affect our business as much as it has, really.
However, there is a way to keep your gaming prices down for now and maybe into the future.
The new games are coming out, and some of that stuff is exciting. It still is a good chance for people to get back into the older stuff. It's definitely a good way to show Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony that, hey, just because you're making new stuff doesn't mean we're going to buy into it.
Reporting in Madison, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. Nintendo says the launch date for its Switch 2 console is still set for June 5th.
A chilly start to the work week. Hope you didn't pack away your heavy coat just yet. There was some snow flying around earlier today. Alex is bundled up on the weather patio and a cold night ahead.
Yeah, I am bundled up. I've got my fleece jacket on here. I feel pretty comfortable because I'm sheltered. Go a little bit further out beyond the patio, and the winds are a bit on the gusty side, and we have those chilly temperatures out there right now in the 30s. We did have some of those snow showers there. Look at that earlier this afternoon. Briefly came down heavy at times across parts of Dane County and the rest of southern Wisconsin. Radar 3000 right now. nothing as we zoom on out to see, can I find a snow shower out there? And I don't see any snow showers really unless you go over towards Milwaukee. So that snow shower threat is really starting to diminish. Can't rule out a flurry yet this evening. But the main story is how cold we're going to get tonight. We're already now 37 in Madison, 41 to the west in Wisconsin River Valley. Interestingly, we've cooled down to 37 here in Madison, but out over parts of the western part of Dane County, they've risen a degree up to 42 degrees. Planning your night, 30s by the time we get a little bit later into the evening, then into the 20s. Coming up in May and weather, I'll let you know just how cold that thermometer is going to read tomorrow morning and when you can expect some slushy snow accumulation in our forecast coming up.
Alex, thank you. The Rock County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a shooting in Evansville. Happened yesterday morning just after 9 on South Madison Avenue, just a block north of Culver Elementary School. Deputies responded to a report that someone had been shot and offered aid at the scene. The person was taken to a nearby hospital where they later died. Rock County Sheriff Curtis Fell says the investigation is ongoing and says there is no threat to the community. The Better Business Bureau warning of a new email scam that impersonates trusted companies and uses urgent messages about unauthorized transactions to steal your data. Now, these emails will direct you to call fake numbers or click harmful links to steal your info. Experts warn not to click or download anything in those emails. Never give out sensitive details. You should always verify through official websites or customer service numbers. If you are in doubt, get a second opinion and report any phishing attempts to the company or email provider.
Wisconsin is experiencing a shortage in healthcare workers at a time when there's a growing demand for care.
Our Meryl Hubbard breaks down the state of this shortage.
I've always wanted to pursue a career in nursing because it's just such a rewarding career.
Autumn Irby is working to become a registered nurse.
But I wasn't able to pursue it on my own because I didn't have the means to go to school and work full time.
Barriers like those are some of many that contribute to the healthcare shortage.
COVID and the pandemic, we lost a couple of years of people entering into the workforce.
While the Wisconsin workforce is seeing an upward turn with a rise in employment starting around 2023, it's not enough to meet a growing demand for care from the baby boomer generation.
In Wisconsin, only the portion of our population older than 65 has grown in the last 10 years. It's unlikely we can grow our workforce fast enough to keep up with demand.
UW Health has about 19,000 employees in Wisconsin and a turnover rate of 13%. And to meet with the growing demand for care,
I think as much as it's about recruitment, it's also about retention.
Jenna Terpanier is the Director of Workforce Strategies at UW Health.
And so we're really creating those pathways for individuals and then also really partnering on youth because that's the next generation of healthcare workers.
UW Health currently employs more than 350 apprentices to combat healthcare shortages and help aspiring nurses like Autumn.
With this program, I've been able to have a work and school life balance, and I've been able to pursue this career without the stress of worrying about, if I'm going to be able to still work full time. I really do have the plans to stay within UW Health.
Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Meryl. You can find more information on UW Health apprenticeship programs on channel3000.com.
Urban forestry crews in Madison kicked off their annual spring tree planting today. Around 1,400 trees will be added along city streets throughout the month. Crews are planting 33 different species to create a more diverse, resilient urban canopy. After planting wraps up, crews will shift back to pruning and maintenance. A second round of planting is planned for the fall. Residents can find tree care tips and species info on the city's urban forestry website.
Yard waste pickup starts Sunday for some Madison neighborhoods. Each home gets 2 chances, one next week and then one in May for curbside collection. To find out your set out dates, visit the city's yard waste website and enter your address. Follow the collection rules by keeping piles off the street and using compostable or open top bags. If you miss your set out date, you may miss your pickup. Drop off sites are also available with expanded hours starting on on Saturday.
Now, the Milwaukee Brewers will host a public celebration of life for legendary broadcaster Bob Uecker on August 24th before their game against San Francisco. Bob Costas will host the tribute featuring special guests and rare video footage. Fans will receive commemorative lapel pins, and game gear will feature a Uecker logo. A raffle will benefit charities Uecker supported. The Hall of Famer, known as Mr. Baseball, spent 54 years in the Brewers broadcast booth and left a lasting legacy before he passed away in January.
Your March Madness bracket has probably been busted for weeks. Ours certainly have been, but the field of 68 men's teams is now just down to the final 2. Tonight, Florida and Houston face off in San Antonio right here on CBS for the right to be crowned kings of men's college basketball. On Saturday, the Houston Cougars staged a comeback in the final minutes to topple Duke, who many thought could have won it all. The Gators had their own comeback, beating SEC rivals Auburn after being down 9 early in the second half. CBS Sports contributor John Rothstein picked this matchup correctly, and he's not changing his prediction now.
There's something about Houston's culture. There's something about the resiliency of this basketball team, and we saw that on Saturday night in that epic win over Duke. There's something about Kelvin Sampson. There's something about the Cougars, and the Cougars are going to win the national championship.
It's a tournament characterized by chalk. A record 52 betting favorites have won games outright, and tonight, Florida is a 1.5-point favorite over Houston. You can watch the game right here at 7:50 local time. That's right. CBS coverage starts at 7 here on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
That's right. Tune in at 7, folks. Alex returns next. Complete check of the forecast after a downright cold start to the week for April.
And a look at hands-off protests around the country that happened over the weekend, including right here in Madison.
Wild swings on Wall Street today. Ends with the Dow falling 349 points. The Nasdaq closes up 15.5. S&P 500 loses a dozen. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
And we continue to follow breaking news out of UW-Madison. Several students and alumni have had their immigration status terminated. The university says it had no role in the terminations and is unsure why they occurred. However, the university does not believe they're tied to free speech or political activity. International Student Services is supporting those affected. UW-Madison says it values its international community and is seeking more answers.
A settlement has been reached on the eve of a civil trial against Boeing by 2 of the families of passengers that were killed in a 2019 737 MAX crash. That's according to a release by the plaintiffs' lawyers. Jury selection was supposed to start this morning in Chicago. A criminal case against Boeing is set to start June 23rd. The company is accused of defrauding the FAA during the process of certifying the 737 MAX to carry its first passengers.
The World Health Organization says recent aid cuts could undo decades of progress in helping women survive pregnancy and childbirth. In a statement, the WHO says the sudden loss of funding is having drastic repercussions on pregnant women in multiple countries. The agency said between 2000 and 2023, maternal deaths declined by 40% globally. But the slashing of humanitarian aid earlier this year could halt that progress. The most dramatic cuts occurred in the U.S., which was the largest single donor to reproductive health programs overseas.
Another child has died from measles in a rural Mennonite community in West Texas. An 8-year-old girl who was unvaccinated and otherwise healthy. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a longtime vaccine skeptic, attended her funeral and in a dramatic shift publicly endorsed the MMR vaccine, calling it the most effective way to stop the outbreak. Texas now reports nearly 500 of the nation's 642 measles cases. Doctors stress that vitamins won't help. Only vaccination can prevent measles.
The Supreme Court has paused the deadline to return a Maryland man mistakenly deported El Salvador. The court granted a request from the Trump administration for more time to argue the case. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia accused of being part of an MS-13 gang, will remain in prison in El Salvador for now. This is the first admission of error in the administration's recent deportation flights to the country.
Thousands took to the state capitol over the weekend, and millions protested in 1,200 other cities around the country in what groups called a hands-off protest. Civil rights groups, labor, LGBTQ+, and veterans groups criticized cuts to federal services, Social Security, and protections for immigrants, as well as trans people. Organizers say they'll continue to push back against policies they say are hurting working Americans. The Trump administration responded to the nationwide movement, saying they will protect key programs like Social Security.
A full look at your first warn forecast now. Here's Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with the details. A chilly April day, Alex.
Yeah, it kind of is an April Fool's in a way. At 20 degrees, that's what we're going to have for a low temperature, just a late April Fool's. That's about 13 degrees below normal. We're going to track in this weather segment a weather system Wednesday going into Thursday that could bring us a mix of rain and more of that slushy snow. But I do promise you that we will likely get above that 60-degree mark by the weekend. Sun's getting a little bit lower in the sky. I'm checking here for any views of snow showers on our live First Warn weather cam. This is our Mallard sky cam. I don't see any snow showers, and the cumulus clouds are not very deep, meaning they're likely not going to produce any precipitation, and that's verified by Radar 3000. Snow showers are done here, although off to the east, just a couple of flurries still left over towards Milwaukee and Kenosha. So the snow showers are very likely done for southern Wisconsin, but what's not done, the temperature going all the way down to 19 in Baraboo, 20 in Madison, 21 in Janesville, the warm spot, and being sarcastic here, 23 in Prairie du Chien. That is a cold night. That's a solid 10+ degrees below normal. As we go into Tuesday, I call this the deceptive sunshine. It'll be sunny, but not very mild out there with temperatures in the low to mid 40s. That's almost 10 degrees below normal. We will eventually warm our way up, though, however. Right now, down to 37 in Madison, 41 in the Wisconsin River Valley, 38 in the Dells, and 37 also tied with Madison in Janesville. 42 on the west side of Dane County. You go to the east side of Dane County, and we're in the upper 30s. 37 and 38 just down the highway in Deerfield. So tonight we plan our temperatures falling through the 30s, then into the 20s, then all the way down to 20 degrees tonight. Perfect recipe, calm winds, clear skies. That's how you get the cold stuff. Then we've got Wednesday going into Thursday with that weather system bringing about a 50 to 60% chance of precipitation, and that's going to be in a mix between rain starting off 11 o'clock in the morning. Look at the mix move in as we go towards 6 or so o'clock in the evening hours. That rain snow mix will continue into Wednesday night going on into Thursday. Could get some slushy snow accumulations during the 6 o'clock newscast. I'll give you a glimpse as to what slushy snow accumulations we might accumulate out of this weather event. And then those showers just meander across the area as we go on into Thursday. Still kind of a raw day with breezes out of the north and temperatures not terribly mild on Thursday. We're only going to do 49 degrees. It's closer to normal, but with the showers and the breezes, it's not going to feel all that great. But here's the good stuff. Saturday, Sunday, cracking that 60-degree mark, maybe approaching 70 degrees by Sunday with a slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. This is Severe Weather Awareness Week in southern Wisconsin, so don't forget that we do have Storm Spotter classes as part of our Beyond the Barometer. It's on channel3000.com. Thanks, Blaze, for putting this together. You can check out our upcoming Storm Spotter classes, which are held by our National Weather Service friends from Milwaukee.
All right, Alex, thank you. Just ahead, torrential rain leads to major flooding in parts of the South. A look at rescue and recovery efforts next at 5.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Moving forward.
Severe flooding impacting West Memphis after overnight rains brought up to 10 inches of water, forcing rescues and evacuations.
As the water continues to rise, emergency teams are working tirelessly to help residents in danger. Kwamitra Wilborn reports from the scene.
I'm standing near the corner of Avalon and Jefferson Avenue. You can see how far the water is coming up on me, but this is nothing compared to the height of the water in the surrounding community. We spoke to the West Memphis fire chief, and he tells us this morning they've had to rescue more than 100 people.
About 4 a.m. this morning, we got a call from dispatch that we had some families that were taking in water in their home. We began our rescue missions, our water rescue.
Multiple roads in West Memphis are blocked due to flooding. According to the National Weather Service, the city received up to 10 inches of rain overnight. This comes after days of severe weather. West Memphis Fire Chief Barry Ely says there were no reported injuries overnight. However, first responders are on standby. Those needing housing were taken to the Roberta Jackson Neighborhood Center by bus. Adonna Robinson says she left her home just before water came rushing in. She says she noticed the water rising around 10:30 Saturday night.
Everybody almost like flooded, like our house flooded, like it's over with.
Mayor Marco McClendon says some flooding in this area isn't uncommon, but it's never to this extent.
All our pumps have been working. It wasn't wastewater, drainage stop up. It was just an unprecedented flood for our city.
He says the evacuations are voluntary. However, he wants people to use caution. According to the fire chief, an adult and 3 children had to be rescued from their vehicle. He says the driver was attempting to drive through the intersection of Mimosa and Maple Drives.
I know it's going to frustrate and inconvenience some of the people of our city, but they just got to understand right now that they just can't keep going back and forth through this water. As we are making evacuation, we don't need to create more evacuations by people just going get stuck in this water.
Reporting for your news leader from West Memphis, Quemetra Wilborn, WREG News Channel 3.
At least 20 people are dead as violent weather continues to sweep across the region.
Well, we're back with a final check of your First One forecast when we come back.
Businesses and shoppers are trying to come up with a strategy for the trade war. What's their plan to weather the turmoil?
And in our Eye on America, we go to southern Texas, where rural schools are banding together to give students the best shot at their dreams. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up at 6, the fallout from President Trump's tariffs continues to spread across every industry and business. We'll hear from experts on navigating the market's volatility again. That more tonight. News 3 Now at 6.
Finally, spring is coming, and that means the Sunburst chairs are returning to the Union Terrace. How cute is this? To celebrate the return, the Wisconsin Union is introducing this themed yellow chairling plushie, Ray Lakin. Now, Lakin joins the green Maple Fields plushie, which debuted in November last year. You can buy both of them at Memorial Union, Union South, or online. The union staff say profits from the plushie sales will go to nonprofit causes.
Can't imagine anybody out at the terrace today enjoying the beautiful weather, the snowflakes.
Have to have their snow pants on.
Very, very chilly today.
Yeah, chilly day today. We're going to go down all the way to 20 degrees for a low temperature tonight. That's about 13 degrees below normal. And then high temperatures as we go into Tuesday will be in the 40s. But if you want to go down to the terrace, you'll want to check out the forecast that I have here. After these cold temperatures tonight, and then we will have that, at least we'll have the sun tomorrow, so that's a plus. We'll have a little weather system Wednesday going into Thursday, but there's the terrace weather. By the time we get to Saturday going on into Sunday, we'll have temperatures getting up into the 60s, if not closing in on 70 degrees, watching the chance of the possibility that we could have a thunderstorm Sunday night going on into Monday. But next week, I'm not seeing any cool, showery weather at this point. Those temperatures in the 50s are about where we should be for this time of year. So we just got to get through the next couple days and then we warm up.
Yep, sounds good.
CBS Evening News coming your way next. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.